Oh, here we are.
Cool.
We're live. All right. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the deep dive with Shootin the Shit with Susan. And today I have my guest, Vanessa Cushing, who is an AASECT certified sex therapist. We'll talk about what that means for those of you who don't know what AASECT is and why that's really awesome. And we're going to just be shooting the shit today on what's clinically called desire discrepancy. More commonly, we might call it mismatched libido or mismatched sex drive. It's really one of the number one challenges that couples face when it comes to sex. Would you agree with that, Vanessa, that it's kind of like really, yeah. So if you're out there, and I know those of you who tune into this and are part of my Substack, that I know that this is very much a common challenge that many of you face. And it's a big thing. And I think that we're here to educate and help today. And I'm really excited to have Vanessa here. We're going to be having a conversation on this. I see some of you here joining. Feel free to drop into the chat today, please, if you have questions, because we're here live. And that's what's so great. You can have your questions answered live. If you're watching the replay, I usually do try to jump into the chat and respond to questions, or I can forward them on to Vanessa, and we'll be sure to get your questions answered. But I really love to have interaction. So thank you so much for being here. I see y'all over there in the chat. Hopefully more will be joining us soon. Vanessa, let me just have you go ahead and introduce yourself briefly. Like, tell everybody who you are and what you do, and let's just start there.
Susan, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you. Like you said, I'm an AASECT certified sex therapist. I received my bachelor's degree at the University of Virginia, and then I went on to get my master's in clinical mental health counseling at Johns Hopkins. And then I received my certification at the University of Michigan in sexual health. And then went on to become a fully AASECT certified sex therapist. I have my own private practice in Northern Virginia, as well as DC, Maryland, and Florida. So my goal is to really educate people on what sex therapy is. There's a lot of misconceptions on what sex therapy is, and then help couples and individuals.
Yes. And so, I mean, two things that you said there. People don't know necessarily what sex therapy is, or that it's even an option. Like I am also a sex therapist for many years. But I did find that a lot of people don't even know that it's an option, or they hear sex therapist and think, oh my God, you have sex with your clients. So maybe let's clear that part up right now, because that's not what's happening.
Please, the looks. Can we talk about the looks that we get when we tell people we're a sex therapist?
Either you clear the room, or you get like a million questions about someone's sex life. Like you're sitting on an airplane. I just started telling people like I'm in real estate or something, like, because I don't want to hear
boring
about your sex life. I'm on a flight, but like, do you find that's true as well?
I love talking about dating and sex and all the things, but I'm like, well, this isn't a session. Like, we are literally in the grocery store, but thanks.
Right. People want all the advice. Or they're terrified of you and they run. You're like, oh my God. And I think because there's so much sexual trauma out there too, I've seen the looks on the faces, and that's like, oh my God, they might have had some sexual trauma in their past. So that those two words together are kind of triggering.
Yeah, super triggering. Also, another thing that people say is like, are you psychoanalyzing me? I'm like, no, talk right now.
Right. Yeah, and you're not paying me enough for that right now.
Yeah. Like you can stay in the dog park. It's okay. Like I'm not watching you. He was like, I'm like sitting up straight. I'm like, okay, cool. Nice.
How has that been for your dating life, being a sex therapist?
It's such a good question.
Let's bond on this, okay?
I don't usually tell people I'm a sex therapist like right off the bat. I've like taken it out of my bio. I just put therapist/entrepreneur. And even the therapist piece, people are a little about, but I don't think my current partner even knows. Like, I think he knows that I'm a sex therapist. He calls me sex therapy pro, but he's Colombian, so I don't entirely know if he knows what it is.
I know. I almost want to do like a blog post about like the two things that ruined my dating life was becoming a sex therapist and doing so much personal growth and development, because I just really had challenges with men being able to, they just end up feeling really inadequate. Not because I put that on them, but I think that if people aren't doing their work, number one, they feel like they're not enough. And then the sex thing, the male ego is quite fragile. And so they think, all this stuff about sex. And then they think, the performance thing. And I'm like, golly, man, maybe I should have been in a relationship first before I went into sex therapy, because then maybe it would have been easier for that problem. But yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one. And I agree. Like, I don't lead with I'm a sex therapist.
No. Also, I found that like people eroticize me so much that it's like, can we not Like it's not all about sex. Like I'm a whole ass human too.
Yeah,
Did you find
sure.
that?
I did. I had a partner too who really just believed that I was going to fulfill all of his kinky sexual
Mm-hmm.
fantasies, because I was, and it was really new to me. A lot of the stuff he was wanting to explore was just like
Mm-hmm.
it was all new. I was willing to learn, but yeah, it was
Yeah.
really quite a train wreck in that particular relationship. But a lot of assumptions I think that can be made just
Mm-hmm.
because of that title. Though, all this stuff, and I'm not, what if you're judging me while we're, or not feeling like they know enough or they can't meet me there. It's like, no, sex, here's what I want to say. And I'm sure you might agree, Vanessa, is it's a journey. Our sexual relationship,
Mm-hmm.
it's a journey, not a destination. It's really a path of
Yeah.
growth. And I think with any relationship, even if you've been in a long-term relationship, tell me if you find this with your clients, it's a lot of times, especially in a long-term relationship, you're
Mm-hmm.
always needing to have that beginner's mind and a curiosity to relearn and to have the flexibility and the willingness to learn. We get so
Mm-hmm.
stuck in the patterns. And I think, our topic today is desire discrepancy or mismatched libido.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you can speak to that a little bit about that need to remain curious, or what do you see when you have couples that come to you that are struggling with this
Mm-hmm.
mismatched libido problem?
Oh, it's such a good question. I do think that routine and staleness is a poison of sexual desire. Spontaneity and keeping things fun, keeping things alive actually enhances desire. So when we are in routine, we are doing the same positions, the same thing every time in the same place, like that kind of becomes boring and it does drain desire. But I wouldn't say that is the number one thing that drains desire. It can drain desire. It is a poison, but I don't think it's the number one poison that drains
Okay,
desire.
well then now we want to know what is the number one poison.
The number one poison, to no woman's surprise, is anger and resentment.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
Yes.
So why is that?
Yes.
So let's talk about that. Anger and resentment.
Anger and resentment is the number one reason of low female sexual desire. Because why would you want to have sex with someone who is pressuring you to have sex, getting angry when you don't have sex? You are going to get mad and resentful over that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I always think of resentment as like it's like a cold, because anger can be hot and
Yeah.
explosive, or it can be sort of cold and controlled. And
Mm-hmm.
resentment is really that cold and controlled form of
Yeah.
anger. I think what a lot of people don't realize too is that as women, our libido, our sexual arousal is
Mm-hmm.
tied deeply to our emotions. So if we're going into the
Yes.
coldness and not allowing ourselves to feel really the hurt, I think that's under
Mm-hmm.
the anger, then our
Mm-hmm.
sex drive just dries up. Have you found that to be true
Yeah.
as well?
100%. And also, I think anger is a secondary emotion. There's always something below the anger. It might be embarrassment. It might be rejection. It might be unworthiness. And that might not be, it might be something else, but that leads to the anger and resentment.
Well, so how do you recommend that somebody address that if that's what's happening?
Yeah, it's a good question. Couples therapy, integrative couples and sex therapy. So what we do is we will take each member of the couple and I will talk to them individually and figure out what has been going on in their relationship, in prior relationships. And I'll talk to each member of the couple. It's confidential. And then we will come together and have a joint meeting and start working as a team, an intimate partner team, to reduce the blame against each other and towards themselves, because I find that when somebody is in a desire discrepancy relationship, there's a lot of blame towards themselves and there's a lot of blame towards the partner. And to get on the same team, we need to eliminate that blame. Like, it's not
Yeah.
your fault. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. Like, it just happens. And it doesn't matter how it happened. It matters what we do today.
Yeah, and I love that. One of the things I've always said is like you are 100% responsible for your own
Yes.
pleasure, and we're each
Mm-hmm.
100% responsible for
Mm-hmm.
the sexual or the relationship in general. Like the experience that
Yes.
I'm having, it's not like I'm to blame for what happened or what my partner did. He might have done
Mm-mm.
stuff that was really shitty, but I am responsible for what I do with my reactivity to it or my response to
Mm-hmm.
it. I'm responsible for bringing my needs, wants, desires, for communicating those, like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I think a lot of times in relationships, we put it on the relationship. Like, there's this ephemeral we, like, we need to do this thing, right? And so,
Yeah.
I want to get your take on this, really. I mean, as another
Mm-hmm.
therapist, like, what is your take on that when there's this we need to do the thing? And like, it's sort of put onto the relationship, yet no one's being responsible for that we. Like, who is the we? I don't know.
Yeah.
I have a whole thing about that. I'm kind of curious what your take
It's like
is.
the number one problem when people go into couples therapy, they just want their partner to change.
Yeah. Right.
It's like, I want my partner to do X, Y, and Z. And that's not what couples therapy is.
Not.
It's like the we is, instead of saying you need to do this, it's we need to do this. It's
Right.
like, it's the same shit.
That's
It's
the
the
we. There's
same.
no we. There's no we. There's two
Yeah.
people, and then there's the relationship that's created between the two. And so
Yeah.
I think if we look at it from the angle of, each person, each individual in that relationship is responsible for what they're bringing to the relationship and what they're creating. And how do you get couples back on the same page? So I love this idea of having the individual conversations, right, and then bringing them back together. But what would you say is the biggest challenge that you've had in getting someone to let go of the blame and taking personal responsibility when there's so much resistance to that, I think, in the world in general, but especially when we talk about couples therapy and why couples therapy, sometimes a lot of couples do it like it didn't work or it wasn't effective. And I think there is a lot of that out there. Curious to get your take on that. What's your perspective?
So I do think that people have difficulty taking accountability. So what I do personally is I have a PowerPoint that I go through, and I will literally have them do cognitive behavioral exercises in the PowerPoint. So we will list out the blaming your partner statements. We will list out the blaming yourself statements. And then we will create, okay, how does this thought, what emotion does it lead to? What behavior does it lead to? So that person can see, oh, I'm mad at my partner, so I don't want to have sex with them to punish them. What emotion does that create? And what behavior does that create? And is it healthy or not? And then once we see, okay, this is not leading to a healthy emotion or a healthy behavior, let's change the thought and let's write a new healthy thought next to it. And let's reinforce those thoughts. And I'll do it for both members of the couple.
Yeah. So a lot of the cognitive behavioral approach, which I think can be really, really valuable and important to be able to see, because we don't necessarily see ourselves clearly, right? We don't see how the thought leads to the feeling, leads to the behavior. It's just a kind of a cycle. Well, hey, I want to talk about also so we didn't really directly answer what is sex therapy. We talk about how people run away or they start asking for sex advice. So what is sex therapy? How would you describe what sex therapy is? It's a very common question that I'm sure you get. I get a lot.
I just define sex therapy as normal therapy, but we talk about sex.
Yeah.
Just talk therapy and we talk about sex, and we have specialized interventions to help couples reconnect, find their sexual voice, anything sexual health related. And we talk about it judgment free.
Yeah. And how is that different from what people might think it is? Like they think you have sex with your clients.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. They're like, oh, I'm like, no, it's not like that. I never have touched a client ever. Like, we don't touch our clients. It is truly therapy talking about sex.
Yeah.
How do you define it?
Well, when people ask the same thing, it's really a specialty within how I describe it. It's a specialty within the mental health field that, again, is just basically like talk therapy, but we just address sexual issues. I do personally tend to work very somatically. I don't necessarily do hands-on work, so I'm not touching my clients either. But sometimes I use a lot of Betty Martin's work in my approach called The Wheel of Consent. It's very much informed. I love Betty Martin. I do too. Yeah. I just love her work. Like, it really can help turn the lights on. So I do use touch-based interventions where I have the clients engage in touch-based practices to help explore desire, consent, boundaries, resolving performance anxiety, a lot of those things. I think that body of work is so, so useful for that. And then I personally do give a lot of stuff for them to do outside of session that is experiential. Do you do that as well? Because I really think sex is experiential, right? Like, we have to, just talking about it, like, you've got to move the needle. There has to be some kind of real-time data to work with. So what's your take on that?
I love it. I do the same thing. One of my favorites is bossy massage. One of my favorites to teach women is sexual assertiveness. It's so fun, like when women are sexually assertive, because they're doing it because they want to and they're sharing what they want. Oh, chef's kiss. But I'll do bossy massage in session, and I'll do like, okay, the bossiest person will win X, Y, and Z. So I do like to make session fun too. And then,
because that one's difficult. So bossy massage, for those of you watching who aren't familiar with what that is, it's a really fun touch. Well, it doesn't necessarily even have to be touch. I kind of describe it. It's kind of like Simon Says, Right. We used to play that game like Simon says, stand up. Simon says, touch your head. Except we're using it to express our own wants and desires. So like touch, massage my feet, use firm pressure. Will you massage my calf using your thumb? Like, so really being directive in what we're wanting, expressing our desire in a way. I also call it like the queen or king's touch practice. Like you're the queen sitting on a throne and you're just commanding your loyal subjects to do your bidding, because sometimes the word massage have you found this too? That word can kind of get in the way. People hear the word massage, like, well, I don't really like massage. It's not, yeah. So sometimes I try to find different ways to describe that practice where people don't have the association with, oh, it has to be a massage, or even that it has to be touch based, because we can express a desire that has nothing to do with touch, right? Like, I just want you to stand in front of me and gaze lovingly into my eyes. That has nothing to do with touch, yet that's still an expression of desire.
I heard your language and I heard may I or will you. And I thought about the game May I Will You. I don't know if you play that before. I usually like to teach that before so people can hear no and thank their partner for saying no. And that's what I usually teach before I go to Bossy Massage. But I heard your language. I was like, ooh, I know what
I guess it's just in that I didn't even notice I was using it. I think it's just sort of ingrained in because I think that the understanding of how to make a request, people get really stuck there. And the may I will you are the two ways really that we make an actual request. What happens a lot, tell me if you find this with your couples, someone will say, oh, I want this thing. I want to have sex tonight. And we actually hear that as a demand or as a request. And really just expressing an I want, actually, I love this distinction. One of my coaches helped me with this. That's not really a request. It's just an expression of a desire, just saying I want. Right.
Yeah,
and so how we actually make a request is, will you do the thing? Will you give me the thing, or will you do the thing to me? Or may I do the thing to you? Right? May I receive this thing from you? So the languaging is really important. What's your take on that? Does that show up a lot when you work with couples?
All the time. And I love how you distinguish the I want versus may I and will you, because it actually gives direction. Will you do this? May I do this to you? Yeah. I also think hearing no, people don't ask the question if they think the answer is going to be no.
True.
So I really like to practice people hearing the no. And what does that feel like for you? Like, would you ask that question? Like, was there dialogue in your brain of like, oh, I don't want to ask this because they're going to say no? Because I have 3 levels. Like, first level is all no. Second level is all yes. What does it feel like to ask a question when you know the answer is going to be yes? Or how does it feel to ask a question and you don't want the answer to be yes? And then the last level is yes or no, the way you feel.
I love that, because you're right. Like, really getting accustomed to those things and how it actually feels, because there's so much. Here's what I think is missed a lot. There's so much pressure put on the doing of the thing. Yes. And I know Betty Martin talks a lot about this too, right? Yes. Oh, like, I have to do the thing,
our queen,
or touch her that way, or give him the blowjob, and I got to do the thing, and I just got to get to the doing of the thing. And if I just get to the doing of the thing, then like the thing will be done, or whatever, it'll happen. But we tend to forget all the beautiful and really important nuanced data that happens way, way, way before the doing of the thing. There's first, like, the feeling of the wanting. Here's the thing I desire. That's like the first step, right? It's just even finding what that is. And then the next piece is the asking for it before any doing happens. And like, I think what you just pointed out, there's so much available there just in that part that most of us are kind of, we're glossing over it to get to the doing of the thing, instead of, what does it actually feel like when I'm afraid to ask for what I want? Or what does it feel like when I know the answer is going to be? I mean, that's brilliant. I think that's really beautiful to slow it down to that degree. I think that's it's a challenging piece, right? That's getting couples to slow down around this.
Oh yeah. Because they just want to go, go, go. They just want to have the sex or do the thing. And it's like, wait, let's slow down. Like, what's actually going on in your mind? Because that's what's showing up in the sexual experience for them.
Yeah. So say more about that. Can you expand on that, just for our audience who's here with us live, and for those coming in on the replay? Please be sure to drop a comment below, whether you're watching the replay or here with us live. Let us know what questions you have about this awesome topic of mismatched libido, desire discrepancy. It's clinically called. This is my guest today, Vanessa Cushing, an ASEX certified sex therapist. Can you go ahead and expand a little bit on that, and really why that's so important, how that has really shown up for you, and why everyone joining us here maybe could really take a page from your book on this one.
Well, I think we all have chatter in our mind about what is going on and what that other person might think and what we feel about that, what other person might think. So, for example, body image is a big inhibition to sexual desire. And if we're thinking, oh my gosh, like, how is my partner thinking about my body? How am I feeling in my body? You're not present in the moment. We're not slowed down enough to actually enjoy my partner touching my body in a sensual way. We are in our mind thinking about, how am I performing? How am I looking? How is that person perceiving me? And I think that is really difficult because you're just up here instead of here. And sex is not about performance. It's about connection.
Absolutely. Yeah. I would hands down agree with that. And I would even add to that the first connection, I think really what you're speaking to, we have to learn to connect with ourselves deeply.
Yes.
And often what we're doing is we're trying to connect with the other. So I'm just going to give in to sex because I'm trying to have this intimate connection. And yet what you just said is that that's the opposite of really what we're aiming for. The more we can connect with what's actually true within ourselves, the deeper we'll be able to connect with our partner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what is ASECT? Let's just, for people who don't know what that is, an ASECT certified sex therapist. What is ASECT? What does it mean to be an ASECT certified sex therapist? And why is that important?
It's a really good question. ASECT is the number one governing body for sex therapists and educators and sexuality professionals. ASECT stands for the American Association of Sexuality Educators, Therapists, and Educators, Therapists. I knew I was going to butcher this.
And counselors.
Counselors.
Yeah.
Yes, I knew I was going to butcher this some way. I was like, the American Association of Sexuality Educators. I can't. It's so embarrassing. But yeah, it's the number one governing body. And it's really hard to get the certification. It took me 5 years to get the certification in sex therapy. It's long. And you have to do a lot of schooling. You have to do, I think, 150 hours of supervision. And you have to have endorsements from other professionals. It is really a long process.
Yeah, it's very rigorous.
When you have that certification, it's like, whoa, you made it.
And very expensive.
And $20,000. Forget that.
Yeah, so that's great. And you, now you were a personal trainer in your former career. Is that true? I think you shared that with me.
Yes.
And there's a big way so I would love to know about that and how that influences your current profession as a sex therapist.
It's a good question. I always loved fitness. Like, I think the mind-body connection is so strong. And if you don't feel good in your body, you're probably not going to feel good mentally. And if you don't feel good mentally, you're probably not going to feel good physically. So I think that is really strong. And I took that, and I was a personal trainer throughout my master's program while I was becoming a therapist. And I think it informs, I don't use it as much, but I think I use how I feel more so as like a coping mechanism. Like, it helps me be a better therapist, like, because I'm able to exercise and I'm able to feel good. And then I'm able to come back to work and help more people because I'm able to take care of myself. I would say, like, my work, of course, like, it's important, but it's not my job to tell people to like exercise or anything like that.
No, but I think when you're working with behavior change, so I could see a lot of similarities when you're coaching a person to whatever their goals are, right? They want to lose weight or be more fit and be in better health. I mean, you're still coming up with I would imagine, a lot of the same psychological barriers to change that you meet and encounter in the therapy room when you're working in sex therapy. I imagine there's a lot of the same type of psychological stuff that gets in the way of people really being able to make change. What would you say is the biggest barrier? I know you said anger and resentment. But what's the internal barrier to overcoming? Like, why do people resist change? And how do you work with that effectively so that you can help lead them to the change they say they want?
It's such a good question. And I think it goes back to the work of Albert Ellis. And he was the founder of REBT. And he talked about the stories that people have in their heads and the beliefs they have around themselves. And I think we all have different beliefs around ourselves about what we can and we cannot do. And it is our job as therapists to figure out those self-limiting beliefs and challenge those beliefs and say, hey, what is stopping you from this? And it's like, oh, it's a belief? Well, that's just a thought. And thoughts can be altered. It's just a thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What about for you? How do you do that with coaching?
Well, one thing that I find is I think the beliefs are a huge part of it. But there's sort of the emotional aspect that's connected to the
Yeah.
thought, right? And I really see, I know that's a big piece for me. Like the mind can understand something, but the emotional attachment can be much harder to resolve. And I know that's sort of
Yes.
my personal work where I've struggled the
Yeah.
most. And so I tend to attract clients where that tends to be the case. We can understand
Mhm.
intellectually like this thing isn't healthy. But on an emotional level, what I find is people are saying they want change and yet choosing safety. So instead of doing what needs to be done to move towards the thing, saying, I want growth, there's too much fear associated with that. So the
Yes.
words are one thing, the actions are opposite. And so that's one piece
Yes.
that personally I've learned to look at in my life. Okay, I'm saying I want that thing, but are my actions aligned with that? And if
Hmm.
not, then what's really going on there? What is
Yes.
it that's keeping me from moving towards that growth? Do I really want
Hmm.
that? And
Yeah.
so that's
That's
one
a
of the
really good
level
question.
that I'll look at it. I'll challenge a client like, okay, you say you want that, but what I'm seeing is the choice you're making is this other thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, and so I think there's a lot of different ways to work with that. A lot of different approaches out there as well,
Yes.
right?
I
Working with
also
thoughts.
think people's
Go ahead.
lives need to be set up to succeed. Like, you need to actually have space and be able to have the capacity to make that change. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of people don't have capacity, and they want to have capacity and they don't.
Yeah. The thoughts can get really rigid. Something that I've used a lot for myself and with my clients is even just opening up that space, opening up that
Hmm.
possibility. Our thoughts can really close us off to that anything else
Yes.
is possible. And so even if it's like I'm willing to believe that something new is possible in XYZ area, like that's enough to break. It's like breaking that pattern in our brains and how we tend to think and how our mind and our brains sort of want to attach on to what's familiar, right? It's just sort of part of how
Hmm.
we're wired. And yet that's the very thing that keeps us stuck. So like opening up
Yes.
new spaciousness in the mind for something new here is possible. Or I'm at least
Hmm.
willing to discover a new way. Like that
Yes.
will, it literally just breaks. It's like a pattern interrupt and it can just sort of break down some of the resistance, I think, to change,
Yeah.
especially when the universe has kept giving the same evidence for that belief to be true again and again and again. It can
Yes.
be very defeating to try to think about anything new. Or if someone's really stuck, they're not in a place where
Hmm.
self actualization is really the thing that's important. So they're just trying to
Yeah.
survive or get out of survival mode or
Yes.
feel like something new is possible with a 20-year relationship, for example. Um, because all they've ever seen is the same thing again and again. So yeah, I think it's definitely it's the heavy lifting of the work that you do.
Yes.
I would imagine, right?
And you too. Like, you get it.
Yeah,
And you see how people get so stuck in that, and they are so entrenched in those beliefs and so stuck, and
yeah,
giving them that light at the end of the tunnel and just challenging those beliefs and see, like, creating an option that there is something else out there. It's
yeah.
hard.
It can be. Yeah. So, just where do you? So now you're in Florida, but you
Mhm.
see clients. Is your practice entirely online, or do you see people in person?
It is entirely online.
Okay.
I don't see people in person. Um, a lot of weird things can happen as a sex therapist, I think, as you know.
Let's hear one of those. Well, after you answer this question, let's talk about that
Yeah.
before you have. Yeah, go ahead. Online.
So no clients in person, but online in DC, Maryland, Virginia, and Florida. And my goal, huge goal, 10-year goal, is to have a sex therapist in every state. I think it's so important for this to be accessible.
Absolutely. And I think making it online makes it more accessible. So
Yeah,
that's great too that you're able to see clients in all of those
yeah.
areas. All right, weird story. So we're going to wrap up here in a few minutes, but what's one of the weirdest things that's happened to you as a sex therapist? If you
Oh
care to
my god,
share,
it's
you
like
can
so
decline.
many. I mean, there's so many times like people just send dick pics to my email, to like
Like I
my office number, like just pictures of your penis.
yeah.
Thanks.
Here's what I say to anyone out there thinking about that. I mean, if you're trying to go for shock value, don't send that shit to a sex therapist because, like, we're not shocked by that. Like, send
We
it.
don't really care. It's just annoying.
It's just like, yeah, okay. I mean, we're a little bit anesthetized. We're kind of numbed out, right? I mean, like
Yeah,
that stuff
I
doesn't
don't
shock
know.
us.
In our training, we had to go through every category of Pornhub, every single category. On a Sunday morning, I'm with my dog on the couch at 8 a.m. watching knife play. Like, okay,
Yeah, we're
we get it.
totally desensitized, guys. So, like, if you're trying to go for shock value, that's not working.
No, another bad one was I was on like a call, like some, it was like a consultation call. Someone called the office, and all I hear is like some rustling, and then I'm gonna come, and then I was like, God damn it.
I'll share one that I had. This one's really funny. It was the same kind
Yeah.
of thing. It was a consult call. This was many years ago when I was kind of just starting out in my practice.
Mhm.
And the guy was like, "Oh, I really like to be naked outside." I'm like, "Okay, cool. Yeah, and I like to stand in my backyard naked." I'm like, I mean,
Cool.
I'm not really hearing a problem here. He goes, "Well, my neighbor likes to watch me."
Oh,
And I'm like, "Yeah, okay. Maybe you should build a fence." Well, actually, I kind of like it. I'm like, that's awesome. He was so like trying to get me to like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. Like, I don't know. He's trying to get some reaction on me. And I was just like rolling with it, like, wow, it sounds like, oh no, actually, he didn't say I kind of like it. I said, it sounds to me like you kind of enjoy being watched. He was like, oh, well,
maybe.
yeah. I mean, he just like wasn't expecting that response at all. And I just like full on
Mhm.
rolled with it and like, he didn't get whatever it was he was looking for. He didn't. And I said, doesn't sound like you need help.
Mhm.
Sounds like you're having a good time and you enjoy being watched. So if your neighbor, but my neighbor might have a problem, like, well, she had a problem. She wouldn't be looking, or she could build a privacy
Mhm.
fence, like, I mean, like, I don't know what you're wanting from me, but, that's great, man. Like, have a good time. Like,
Mhm.
go get off in your backyard being naked,
Yeah, go enjoy it. And your neighbor's
Call
enjoying it
call
too.
somebody else
Don't
if
take it
you're
away from her.
yeah, maybe she's into it too, like,
Yeah.
if you're going for shock value, it's not working, and we're at the end of our, consultation time, so have a nice day.
Yes.
Great. Well, awesome. So, Vanessa, if people would like to find out more about how to connect with you or anybody in any of those locations or looking to work with a professional like yourself, how can they find you?
CushingCounseling.com, or just go on social media. It's Cushing Counseling on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You can connect with me there, anywhere. I make videos too.
Awesome. And if you had to give like one piece of advice for anybody watching this who's struggling with mismatched libido, what would like the number one thing, it's like something that they could implement kind of right away today, just from watching this
Mhm.
conversation? What could somebody do that would be a practical thing they could implement?
Start giving yourself and your partner grace to not blame each other or yourself.
Mm.
Reduce the blame. Figure out what are the blaming statements towards your partner, towards yourself, and try to fix them, because that blame is not going to help you get anywhere productive.
I love that. Get rid of the blame, try to fix it. And better
Mhm.
yet, reach out to Vanessa. If you're in any of the
Yeah,
locations that she serves, reach out and get some support. Because I
I
think
got
it's
you.
so hard when we're ingrained in our own stuff. We really, really, really have got to get outside help and,
Yes.
to get through it. And the world's a better place when people are having sex, good sex, right?
Yes, it is. Good sex. Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, Vanessa. And thank you, everyone who joined me here
Mhm.
live and all of you who are watching the replay. Please be sure to drop a comment below. Let us know what you thought of the video. Drop your questions below. I'll be dropping in to check the chat. If there's any questions you have for Vanessa, I'll be sure to pass those on to her. We'll be sure to get your questions answered. And thanks so much for joining me for Shootin the Shit with Susan Deep Dive. See y'all next time.